Yeah, first we started with the idea that young people want to find their place in society, and also they want to answer who they are. But we wondered how they define this place. So our main questions were: what are the different forms of youth civic participation, and how are these forms related to identity and progress?
Well, we identify several forms of civic engagement. Some youth presented strong civic participation in different formal and informal ways. For example, being a member of a party, syndicate, or political organization is a very formal way, whereas being connected to a Facebook group that is concerned with political issues is one example of informal way. But some of the young were, in contrast, disengaged from political and societal concerns. And we also identified what is called a standby form, which was characterized by interest in political and societal issues, but without participation. And it's like an in-between form, and especially here, teachers, social workers, and other professionals that work with young people do have a major role in promoting youth personal development. And another finding was that some adolescents and young adults were characterized by passivity in civic engagement, problematic personal identity, and rejection of social identity at the same time. For example, a young person who has problems to define his or her place in society and who doesn't know who he is, who she is, and also doesn't feel a sense of belonging to any social group or community. And such a profile constitutes an at-risk situation for the individual and for the society, for instance, regarding youth marginalization or radicalization.
It was exciting to identify the several and diverse ways that young people engage in political and societal concerns, and also the way that they form their personal and social identity. We really liked exploring and describing the diversity of youth civic and political engagement. First, young people can learn that there is not only one way of engaging in society. There are multiple ways which develop during adolescence and are linked to his or her own identity formation.
Concerning teachers and youth workers, we encourage them organizing critical discussions and debates with youth on current hot topics. And they should also promote civic participation and community action by youth through projects that emerge from young people for young people. And these examples of action may enhance identity exploration processes, also favor inclusive social identity, and reinforce civic engagement in its diversity of expressions.
This research was conducted in France because we are French researchers. Most of 1,200 French students from 16 to 24-year-old took part. We were surprised by the number of respondents and their interest in these questions. So we are willing to continue our investigations, for instance, in examining deeper why some young people are engaged while others are disengaged, who they are, what can be the social facilitators, and on the other side, what can be the barriers perceived by youth.
Yes, because it's very important for everyone to find his or her place in society.
Yes. Youth diversity, of course.
Civic participation.
Yeah, and also identity. And living together, yes.